Let's talk about 5 reasons why you're going to love the Juki DDL-9000c FMS. Hey, it's David from Gigi's Fabric Shop, home to Juki and Janome Junkies. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why you're going to love the Juki DDL-9000c FMS. This sewing machine is an industrial sewing machine that has so many different features similar to our home sewing machines. However, it just brings it up to the next level and gives you a really strong, robust machine with tons of amazing features that are going to step up your sewing game at home. So whether you're sewing just a little bit here and there and you just want to have the nicest machine out there, or you're just sewing all the time and you're ready for an industrial machine that is going to be able to just handle everything you throw at it and just sew all day long, this is the machine for you. So let's go over 5 reasons why I think you're going to love this sewing machine. Reason number 1 is going to be digital controls. So on this machine, you'll see this little LCD screen which has all different types of digital controls. Everything is digital on this machine. Now that might scare some of you, however, the digital controls on this machine are so easy to use and so responsive. And so that allows you to have consistency over all your different styles and projects that you're going to be sewing. So if you're using different weight threads, different materials, you can remember these settings that you have set up and you can continue to have the consistency over and over again versus having to manually remember where that setting was when you were using that one type of thread or one type of fabric. So for example, let's just show you some of the digital controls on this screen. And before I keep going, I do want to highlight, if the screen is flashing on video, that is totally normal. It's not normal in real life. It looks totally fine in real life, just like your phone would look. It's just your phones record in a different frame per second than the screen emits. So some of the digital controls on this machine is going to be, of course, your tension. So with your thread tension, you can literally just tap around here and it's just going to change your tension. You can press X, it'll go back to what you already had it at. Now this is your thread tension, so on a standard machine like a TL, you're going to have like a manual tension knob, but as you can see on this one, it's controlled electronically. And since this is an industrial machine, it is very robust and all of these components are very, very nice. So it lasts a long time. You can use this machine all day long and you're not going to run into any issues with this machine. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people might be a little skeptical when you say digital and electronic everything, but this machine is a Juki industrial and they are unbelievable. So just keep that in mind. So we have our tension as a digital, we have our thread pitch, which is our stitch length as a digital setting, and you can just tap to increase or press R to return back to what you originally had it set at. You can go all the way up to 5, so that's pretty cool. Then of course, one of my favorite features is the presser foot pressure, and this is a digital, this is not manually controlled. You're not adjusting a knob up here, you're just tapping where you want it to be. So it goes all the way to like negative 350, I believe. Yep, 350. And as you can see, that's with the foot down. That's just pretty much your micro lifter on this machine. So you can actually fit like, let's see, this is like, I don't know, 8 layers of cotton, and it slides right underneath the foot. So you can sew over some pretty thick stuff on this machine with that feature because it allows you to have that negative presser foot pressure, which allows you to sew over those thicker layers. So let's just go back to what we had it at 25. And then also, you know, you have your speed control. Everything's digital and there's numbers. So what's really nice about that digital control is you can keep track of the numbers you were using on certain projects with certain threads, and you can achieve that consistency over and over and over again. Reason number 2, programmable stitch settings. So this is by far one of my favorite features on this machine, which there's so many, so I'm probably gonna say that on every single reason, but programmable stitch settings are amazing to have. So as you can see, this one is my normal / lightweight stitch settings, and you can label it right here. You can write out the process, you can write out the comment you want to put, and of course I just put normal, light, and then Juki Junkies. But when you want to create a whole new stitch setting, you just press on this little number right here, and you can see I have 5 different programmable stitch settings. So I can go to my heavy stitch setting, I can go to my applique, I can go to my bar tack, I can go to whatever this one was that I created. So let's just go to number 1 and just show you, when you're on that stitch setting, you can create, or your programmable stitch setting, you can create your different stitch modes, which we'll go over that more here in a minute. You can create whether you want a back tack at the beginning or a back tack at the end. You can create the thread tension, the pitch, the pressure foot height, the needle down, needle up, the feed dog settings you have, the feed dog height, the thread tucker, all these different features. So that way you have different programmable stitch settings saved for different projects that you might be working on. So as you can see, I've got my light, my heavy, and all those different stitch or those different projects that I'm working on. So when I switch back and forth between different projects, I don't have to worry about changing all the settings on the machine. All I have to do is go, oh, I'm going to sew heavy today. I'm going to go to my programmable stitch setting at number 2 where it says heavy, and voila, I'm ready to sew. I got my settings for my heavier fabrics, and I'm good to go. Oh, you know what? I'm going to actually sew something light real quick. Go back to my light setting, and boom, everything switches on a fly. You don't have to worry about changing all your tension, changing all your knobs, remembering what they were. It's all digitally controlled, and it's going to manage that perfectly over and over again and give you consistency on all of your different projects. Since I talked about stitch settings, I feel like it's only proper to go through setting up a whole new stitch setting or a programmable stitch setting, right? So we have 5 programmable stitch settings saved on this machine right now. I'm going to create a new one, and we're going to go through the full process of creating a new one. So you're just going to press new. You're going to select your stitch mode, which just if you didn't already know these stitch modes, this is like the freestyle. This one saves your stitch count. So let's say I'm sewing a project where I'm starting right here and I'm ending right here every single time over and over again. You can program how many stitches you've sewn there, and it'll save it so it just stops automatically. We'll kind of give you a quick little highlight of that. And then also this is your back tack or bar tack, so you can program or you can make a whole stitch setting that's just for back tacking, so you could do that over and over on each project. And then this is going to be very similar to this one, except you can save multiple stitch counts. So you could do like an sewing on a patch. You could save this row right here. You could save this row and this row, so you have the same exact stitch count over and over again. And we'll show you a quick example of that. We're just going to select freestyle real quick. We're going to select just the circular feed dog motion. And voila, now I can go in here and change my speed. And now this machine goes all the way to 4,000. I'm going to put it at 2,000. I can change my thread or stitch length. We're going to go to 2.6. Tension looks good. All that looks great. So this stitch setting's done. Now let me just go over the stitch modes real quick for you. By the way, whenever you lift up your foot on this machine, let me see here. Oh, I got to save this. Okay. So I'm going to just put YouTube, because this is this programmable stitch setting that I saved while I was making a YouTube video. Press X, pattern number 6, boom. Okay, so now that we have number 6 up, I'm just going to show you what freestyle is. And now on this machine, while I'm going over this, the foot lifts up when you just press back on your foot pedal. So that's first stage, and then if you push down a little bit more, second stage, and it goes all the way up to 13.5 millimeters high. So you could fit a lot of material underneath that foot. It is incredible. And this machine does come in a heavy version. So this machine currently is the regular, which is size 9 to 18 needles, which is going to be like your TLs. And you can get this in a size, I believe, 18 to 23 needle range. So you have a little bit heavier if you're using it for denims and canvases and a little heavier materials over and over. But let's just show you the freestyle sew. So this is the stitch mode freestyle. So you're just sewing, and it's just normal sewing mode, pretty much. It's going to cut. So now we're going to do the stitch mode that is, it saves your stitch count. This is really, really cool. So right here it says 100 stitches and it's going to stop. I'm going to press T for, it's going to learn my stitch count, and I'm going to start right here at the white. And I want it to stop halfway down. So it counted 63 stitches. Now I'm going to press heel click, and now it saved 63 stitches. So now I'm going to repeat that stitch over and over again, because I'm doing the same thing over on this project as I'm making this project, right? And it's going to end in the same spot over and over again, so you don't even have to manually do that. It's going to do it on its own, and you're going to have that consistency. So that's what these industrial sewing machines are designed for. They're designed to give you the most productivity out of your sewing machine and give you so much consistency, because you're doing it on an industrial scale where you're producing projects and goods for people. So the next stitch mode is going to be your bar tack. You're going to press that. And as you can see, I'm under the same programmable stitch setting. So it still says YouTube. This is my stitch number 6. And I'm just changing the stitch mode. And obviously you can change it every time, or you can make a whole new stitch setting and just create another number for that one. But for this video, I'm just showing you the different stitch modes you can choose from. So we have bar tack. We can choose the number we want to do. We're just going to keep it on all these settings for time purposes, but watch this. Now watch this. I'm going to go right here. And the foot is automatically lifting up, needles up. I mean, look at this, guys. This is amazing. I can just do this a million times. This machine just blows me away every time I sew on it. It's just like, oh my goodness. It's amazing. So that's the bar tack. The next one is going to be very similar to this one, but now you can save multiple stitch settings. So let me see, or stitch counts. So the first one's 100. Let's put that at 5. The second one's going to be 8. The next one's going to be 9. And let's do this one at 25. Okay, and we're going to press X. So now you can see it's 1 through 4. First one is 5 stitches. So let me just show you. Let's say I'm sewing on a patch. So the first one I got to sew 5. It stops automatically. Now I'm on number 2. So now I'm going to lift up my foot just by pressing back on my pedal. That sewed 9. So now I'm on number 3, or maybe that was 8. I don't know. Can't remember. Now I'm going to sew 9, which we'll turn it this way. Stopping automatically on its own. And then the final one is 25. So, and then I press heel click and it cuts. And now if I had to do this process 100 times because I'm sewing out maybe a patch or something on a project, I can have that same consistency over and over again to do it a million times, and I don't have to manually remember, okay, stop, okay, go. I can just have that same exact consistent look over and over. So that is super, super cool. Reason number 3, the multi-layer detection system on this machine. So when you're on your stitch settings here, you can just press both of these, and now this is just my simple controls. If you don't want to look at all the crazy controls, you press this again, and now you get all of the in-depth controls that you can set up on that stitch setting, right? So if I want to go into the back end and even control more, I'm going to press this little button right here. And now I am going into all of my regular stitch settings. And then this is going to be my one-touch changeover settings, which we'll touch on that a little bit later. I don't think I actually had that in the 5 reasons, but this machine has so many amazing reasons that there's not even 5. So maybe I'll just do that as a bonus fact towards the end of the video. But the multi-layer detection system is going to be right here. And what this is it's going to detect when you're on multiple layers, and it's going to immediately switch over to your one-touch changeover. So I guess I kind of actually have to talk about the one-touch changeover first before we get into the multi-layer detection system. So I guess this is your bonus reason here, okay? So on this machine, you have your normal stitch settings here. I'm just sewing along, and I'm getting to a part in my project where it's no longer the lighter weight materials. Maybe I'm going into something heavier, and I want to have that setting changed where I can just switch over to this thicker material on a fly versus having to stop what I'm doing and change all my settings. So there's a button right here, boom, and everything's highlighted green. So now all of these settings right here are programmed to be, which I have to cut because I want to make an adjustment on these. All of these settings are going to be your one-touch changeover settings. So I'm going to adjust these because these haven't been adjusted. So we're going to do, we're going to increase our stitch length, and just hang in here with me. You'll see what I'm talking about. This might be a little confusing right now, but wait until you see what this does. So we're going to make our speed go to 100. Oh, I guess we have to go to 150 minimum. Okay, so I've set up my one-touch changeover to be longer stitch length. I'm going to do my press foot lift at a negative 75. I have changed it to be a box feed, so that way it feeds the thicker layer better. I've changed my speed to go down. So now let's show you what this is all about. So I'm sewing on 4 layers of cotton, and then I'm going to go to, I don't know how many that is, but that's probably 12. So I'm getting close to that. I'm like, oh goodness, I need to switch over to my one-touch changeover. And now my foot is lifted up automatically. My stitch length has increased for this thicker stuff. And now it's gonna go over that with ease. I don't have to worry about stop and sewing. I can just switch over my settings on a fly like that. And then now heel click, cut. And so now you can see I went from just normal stitches here to stitch length 5 with my micro lifter lifting up on a fly. Just by pressing one button, I was able to switch all my settings in the middle of sewing to a completely different setting, so that way I could jump from light to thick. So that is an amazing feature. But now we can talk about the multi-layer detection system. So now that you understand what the one-touch changeover does, you're going to go to your multi-layer detection system. And what this does is you can press T for, I don't know honestly why it says T, but it should be like an L for learn, but whatever. You're going to press that button. You're going to put your thin layer that you're sewing on underneath the foot. It's reading the thickness of it. You can manually type it in, but nobody's going to manually know what the thickness is there, unless you've done it a million times maybe. So it's reading 1380 as the thickness of my layers of cotton here. I'm going to press, that's one layer, and then I'm going to go to my thicker material here. I'm going to press that as my multi-layer button there, and that's reading at 1700, and then I'm going to press enter. So now I'm going to press enter again. So now I have that multi-layer detection system on, and it says on there. And so now when I'm sewing, it's going to automatically go into that one-touch changeover without even me touching that button, but just based on the presser foot knowing the height of the material you're on. So I know you're probably like, no way, Jose, but watch. Boom, it switched over to the one-touch changeover automatically right when I got to that thicker material, because it knows the thickness of that material, and it automatically switched over to that one-touch changeover settings. So let's show you exactly what that looks like. So we went from just normal stitches at like 2.5 all the way up to our 5 stitch length here, and it happened as soon as we jumped up on those thicker layers, because the multi-layer detection read the thickness of the material and changed the settings for us automatically. So that is a mic drop on this machine right there. Reason number 4 is going to be versatility and customization. Now, I know this kind of goes without saying, but as you can see on this machine, you have so much versatility and customization that you can do on this machine. So let's start off with just the start of your sewing. At the beginning, I can select to back tack, and I can change that setting when I hold it down however many I wanted to do. I can make the speed, I can make the tension different. This machine just literally goes through every single detail you can imagine. They thought of everything. Juki Industrial is phenomenal. So as you can see, that is just super easy, super customizable. Obviously, we have all these stitch modes you can change from. We have all that thread tension you can adjust digitally. We have the stitch length. We have the feed dogs. You can go from different feed dog motions for different materials. In the manual, it'll highlight which one is used for which. I know this is lighter weight, this is like your heavier weight stuff, and these two, I am not too sure, but I want to say it's something in between those. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, you can change your needle down, needle up position when you stop sewing. You can even adjust your feed dog height on this machine, and so that's really nice when you're sewing over different layers, different types of materials. There is just endless customization on this machine, and it just keeps on going. So if you're looking for a machine that is very customizable, and you're looking for a machine that is very easy to learn and navigate, this is the machine. This machine may look complicated. There's so many different buttons, but quite honestly, I've only spent a few hours on this machine over the course of a few months, and it's just, you pick it up so easily because it's just the navigation on it's super, super nice. You can even download the app. They have like an app where you can even adjust your settings and upload them to this machine, or you can take the programmable stitch settings you have saved here and put them on another machine if you're working with multiple of these machines in your factory or your house. This machine just has so much customization. And I think I mentioned earlier that you can get it in the heavy or the light, or heavy or the regular, so you can even select this machine to be your heavier duty sewing machine, or you can select it to be your 9 to 18. And I do believe that whenever you're sewing at home or you are doing sewing for a living, you're going to always need just a standard foot sewing machine that is this machine pretty much, and this machine is going to knock that out of the park. It really does all of the jobs a standard foot sewing machine would do. Here is another thing that's super customizable on this machine. You can even change your different, so you can make these programmable stitch settings, but you can even make cycles. So for example, this is a cycle I made, number 7 here, and when you make these cycles, you can select, okay, I want to do this programmable stitch setting that I have, number 1, and then I want to do, we're going to do a back tack 1 or bar tack 1 on my next step, and then on the final step, we're going to do the stitch count 1 right there. So now I'm just going to press that, make it, well, we'll make this one number 8 now. And so now when I'm sewing, I've got 3 different steps that I'm going to be going through back to back to back. So if I'm doing a project where it requires you to do, you know, your freestyle, then it requires you to do the programmable or the stitch counter where you're doing a stitch count, and then it requires you to do a bar tack, and it's in that cycle, in that sequence. That is going to be what you're going to use these cycles for. So that is a really cool feature on this machine. And there's so much more on this machine. We're going to do a far more in-depth video on this machine one day where we're going to go over each little setting on this machine from the beginning all the way to the end. But that is just some of the customization that's awesome. Reason number 5. As you've seen already, there is 2 little buttons right in this area. So you have your A and your B button here, and this is a flip down, so you can actually just flip it down right here. So while you're sewing, you can just quickly tap it. Right now, this is programmed to be your reverse stitch. So let me just show you what that looks like. Super nice, super convenient. And this is programmed to be my one-touch changeover. If I want to adjust those buttons to be whatever features I would like, I'm going to press M, and then I'm going to hold down M one more time until you hear it beep. Now I have all these settings to choose from. So we're going to do hand switch setting. We have hand switch A, which is going to be this one. And I can choose that to do a variety of different settings. We have material in sensor input, or hold on, let's see here. We've got all different types of settings. Thread trimming function, presser lift. I mean, there's literally, 22 things you can change. And then B is going to be this one, which is our one-touch changeover. And you can change that to do 22 different functions as well. And you can also program the foot pedal to do a variety of different functions as well if you choose to have it do different things than it's already doing. So that is an awesome feature here because it's just quick keys that when you're sewing, you don't have to actually like touch anything up here. You can just boom, boom as you're sewing versus having to actually lift your hand up off the project and touch any settings. And another quick little bonus feature is you can lock the screen. So if you have little ones running around, or maybe you're sewing with a bulky project and you don't want to bump into the screen and mess up a whole bunch of buttons, that lock setting will allow you to lock the screen.
And reason number 5, I totally forgot about number 5. I don't know how, but Kylie, my fiance, who's the editor, was like, David, you forgot reason number 5. So we are at So Bestie, So Vacation, So Something show here in Orlando, Florida, and I'm like, okay, we gotta give them a reason number 5 because we told you 5 reasons. So reason number 5 is going to be low maintenance. Since it's an industrial sewing machine, there's not much maintenance. It's all sealed off, so the machine is literally sealed. You can't open it up and clean it. It's literally like you don't even have to bring it in for a cleaning. All you have to do is just tilt it back. You can blow out the hook assembly area. The machine has a reservoir where you just fill it up with oil on the front. You don't even have to tilt it back to add oil. Unlike most industrials where you have to tilt it back and add the oil, you can literally just take the little plug off, add oil. There's a little line that tells you where it needs to be, and then voila, your hook gets oiled, everything else gets oiled on the machine. They don't need maintenance. You don't have to bring them in every single year or 2 years. They just work. So that is reason number 5. Let's get back to the end of the video.
And just like that, we have given you 5 reasons why I believe you're going to love the Juki DDL-9000c FMS. Now, I probably want to highlight on this, there is like 4 different models. When you look on our website for this machine, you're going to see an SMS, FMS, FMH, which is like the heavy version, and then the FMS is the regular version, and there's the same thing for the S version. The S version is going to be very similar to this, but you're not going to have all of the features this machine has. It's more manual. You have more like actual buttons on it. It's not all touchscreen. So just keep that in mind. I personally, I'm a fanboy of the FMS. FMS or the FMS-H if you're doing the heavier stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen this machine being used on Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop. She has this machine. There's a variety of other YouTubers and people that have these machines that use them all the time for home sewing purposes just because of how phenomenal they are, how just consistent they are, how quiet they are, how smooth they are. So if you liked watching a little bit about this machine and you're interested in one, check out JukiJunkies.com. We'll put a link in the description for this machine. Keep in mind, it's an industrial machine, so it doesn't just ship in a little box. It actually shows up on a pallet, which I think we have a whole video on unboxing this thing in depth, and we have a speed setup where you can just watch it like raw and uncut, and you can see how fast we can set it up. I think we just recorded it last Sunday, so make sure you go watch that video because you'll see how easy it is to set this machine up. You might be able to persuade your loved one that this is a must in the sewing room. So if you like this video, give us a like. Comment down below your favorite reason that I mentioned. Maybe there's a reason I haven't mentioned that you've seen other people talk about on this machine. I want to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. And don't forget to check out JukiJunkies.com. Shop that website. That is our website. We're a family-owned business. We ship extremely fast all around the United States. We have some of the best customer service in the world. So if you have any questions on machines or products that are Juki related, or even other topics in the sewing industry, just give us a call. We'll throw up the information, shoot us an email. We will be happy to respond to you fast. We're coming out of a hurricane, so we're finally back to normal. So just like that, hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much. Bye.